Up next, a competitive athletic club of volleyball and basketball designed for Asian Americans. And later, the power of rhythmic movements and why you need this. I'm Mary Sitt. Join me next on Asian Focus. Good morning and welcome to Asian Focus. I'm Mary Sitt. They're tough, they're out to win, and they're all Asian. The Hurricanes Athletic Club of Boston provides competitive sports programs to young adults with ties to Boston's Chinatown. Here to tell us more is the president, Jeff Chin, a self-described serial entrepreneur who's working on his fourth startup and is deeply involved with the innovation community here. Jeff, thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Mary. Thanks for having me.
Now, how old is the Boston Hurricanes Athletic Club? It's been around for a while?
Yeah, we were founded in 1970.
Okay, but it's changed a lot since those days, and you're now the president. How has it changed over the years since your involvement?
Well, our club actually started with basically a men's team that played volleyball and basketball.
Okay.
That was predominant in the 70s and and it evolved in the 80s when more people like me, we saw our older members playing, and we liked it so much we wanted to join and get on the courts with the older guys. So it was a way of replenishing for the club. And more recently, in the last 5 years, we've developed our youth programs, and we've been integrating more junior basketball and volleyball teams into our programs. So and it's been headed up by one of our very sort of visionary coaches, and Karen Chu, who really wanted to get younger kids involved.
And by younger,
sports.
You mean like 8 years old and up? Or?
Yeah, they go from, we have kids participating in our clinics that, as young as 8.
Well, let's take a look at some pictures. You brought a whole bunch of pictures to show us about the kids on the court, volleyball and basketball. Yeah. And while we're looking, this is a team now. This is the you have various teams that you form, right? Of different age groups?
Yep. The first one was our clinics, the kids in the clinics, our young basketball team, under 12. And this is our championship team here that won the Nationals in 2004.
Great.
And this is another picture of our young basketball team in action. This is in New Jersey, I believe. And this is a 15-year-old player that's playing against looks like New York, and as we have kids in that age group that play very competitively. And this is another picture of our young kids, and you can see some of the siblings of our 8-year-olds. They actually jump in and they want to play too.
Yep.
Yeah. And we have kids of mixed Asian descent too, so it's quite rewarding to see our...
Jeff, why was it important to have a competitive athletic club just for Asians and Asian Americans?
Well, I think it's a natural evolvement, and the many cities in North America have had tournaments and leagues for years, and now that we have our second generation, our kids, or friends with our kids, what we're finding is that our kids growing up in the suburbs, they actually enjoy our venues because they get to kind of come in and play with other Asian kids
who look like them.
Yeah,
they're in neighborhoods where they're the minority all the time, right?
Exactly. It just feels very comfortable for them. Or actually, some kids aren't actually comfortable with that, and then they come in. Their parents want them to sort of integrate with kids of that,
I know. I sort of worry about that too. I look at my kids and they, it's like there are no friends that are really Asian friends, right?
Yeah.
Because they're just not in the neighborhood or school with that. So this gives them a chance to develop cultural type things too.
Absolutely. Ties. Yeah. And these tournaments are North American cities, and it revolves around New York and Washington, Toronto.
And they play with other athletic clubs that are not associated with the schools necessarily, but just independent, right?
Yeah, they're all independent, and
but they're not all Asians. There are other groups, ethnic groups too.
No, they're all Asian.
Oh, they're all really?
Yes.
So it's a national. This is a national thing.
It's a national thing.
And this is the Boston.
It's North American because the Canadian cities are involved too.
And this is just the Boston one. The Boston Hurricanes is from Boston, and then they have other Asian teams, Asian American teams all over.
Yep, that's right.
Okay.
And we have women's teams too, and
Very
you know,
nice.
they get to socialize. With
How
each
do you
other.
develop the elite level of playing? Because you play at that level where you want to encourage and push. It's not just like neighborhood game. It's really very competitive, right?
It's evolved quite a bit.
How do you encourage that kind of playing? How do you develop that?
Well, we actually, what we're finding is that it's not only our own club that we need to have programs to develop that. We work with other organizations so that they can, you know, if volleyball is the sport that they love, they'll do that year round.
Okay.
School, private clubs, and then our own.
And Jeff, earlier you were telling me that you actually get some really top-notch coaches to get involved too.
Yeah.
People who do it professionally every day who are involved in the Boston Hurricanes. Tell me how you got that connection going.
Well, you know, it evolved from our own member base, and they went on, because they loved the sport themselves, they've gone on to the coaching ranks in the area, and that's colleges around here like LaSalle College and Boston College, etc. And it's our own sort of network that we've been able to harvest, I guess, and they come back and they want to give back to what they kind of similarly had as a path, and now we're able to develop these programs so that we can foster the teams and help our kids.
So they come in and sort of volunteer to coach for you?
Yeah, we're very grateful for that ability.
Now, Jeff, you've played in the club, you said, and also your son has played. He's now 16 years old.
Yeah.
What sort of things do people learn when they play in a club like this? I mean, they learn more than the sport. They learn other things. Can you talk about that?
Well, they learn about sort of the social dynamics, and team sports is much more about understanding what that person next to you is going to do. But it's also, our kids come from different towns around Boston. Although they may look like they you know, each other, they get to know each other socially, and now then they form their own relationships, and that seems to be good. But it's also good for us parents too, because it lets us renew our old friendships when we were younger, and we make new friendships and new groups and new parents that come in. You know, we're discovering that, you know, it's the community piece that we want to have as Asians in the Boston area.
So it's social ties too, and then you have a really wonderful thing called I Am Hurricanes, which is your community outreach arm of the group. Tell me about that, and why is that important to you?
I Am Hurricane was formed so that we could give back to the community and outreach to other groups, because they have similar interest in developing a community.
Young people,
And so for us, it's to, you know, reach out, and we have Scholastic Awards, and we're talking to the Big Sister program.
The Big Sister, Little Sister program.
Yes.
That's great.
And in other areas, other towns where they may not have the resources, we do youth basketball clinics, so that we expose them to that, and they see that they can have that activity and you know, enjoy that too. So.
Jeff, one of the things you do when you're not doing this, which is all volunteer work for you, is you are a self-described serial entrepreneur, and you're on your 4th startup. What is the name of this? And it's an innovation, right? That's
I've been involved with the Boston innovation community for quite a bit, and my last startup, we were in Mass Challenge, which is a local global competition that gives out $1 million in awards, and we were a finalist there.
That's great.
My latest one is called mortgageauction.com. It's an online service to help people find the best service with, and it's much easier than what's existing out there.
So it's consumer oriented?
It is, and they can.
So consumers get on to find the best mortgage or the best broker, or how does it work?
It is basically by auction. So you can just put in what you're looking for, and lenders pretty much give.
Oh, they make a bid. It's sort of like Travelocity or one of those travel things, right?
Yes.
You bid on the hotel.
Yeah,
but
it's a
this time
combination of eBay and financial services.
Wow. So how do you make money on that?
The lenders are willing to you know.
Oh,
pay.
if they win, if they get a client through that way.
Yeah, because for them it's a way of developing more sales. And
so do you get bored when it's not at the startup level? You just want to keep going with new ideas and.
You know, I really enjoy being in the startup. I guess it is because it's a little less structured, but in other ways it's a lot more challenging.
So you start up a company, then you sell it, and then you find something else. Is that how it
yeah,
works?
that's how it works. You get it to a point where somebody else might want, you know, they want to take it to the next stage.
So here's the key question: where do you get the seed money to start the startups?
Sometimes you have to put in your own money, but
right.
then there's some great communities like angel investors and that are very helpful, and you just need to sort of develop those relationships as you move along.
So it sounds like you need to do some clinics and make some more money on how to teach people how to start businesses.
I don't know about the clinics yet, but yeah.
But I'm sure that entrepreneurial spirit's helped you with the Boston Hurricanes Athletic Club, right?
It does.
That thing of what can we do differently with the club? How do we develop it?
Right.
How do we do new things?
Yeah, we have some great corporate sponsors that go along with that
That's
too.
great.
So they see that as a great.
Good luck in your season. You have a season for the summer, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Mary.
Thanks for coming. Coming up next, have you ever done something complex and it just seemed to flow with little effort? If not, we'll tell you how you can quiet the chatter.
Cereal. I've never been